All right, and we are back. Kev, it is now week 5. You are back in the United States of America. How does it feel to be back, man?
Nick, God bless America. They let me back in the country. Thank goodness, because I cannot deal with any more crappy Mexican connections. So we can finally do this show right here, right now. Nick, I'm very excited.
Hey, man, I got to be honest with you. My internet goes out constantly, and I literally live right across from a Time Warner cable facility. How does that happen? I mean, I could throw a wire over into their backyard to get cable. What's up with that?
Well, we were relying on your internet connection to keep things good when we talked to Vanessa. If you have not seen our interview with Vanessa, please check it out. She was fantastic, gave a bunch of great insights. And now Tiffany is back, was the star of this episode. Nick, I guess Tiffany hates Christmas, right? She hates Christmas. That's the only thing I can figure out, because we've got Christmas Corey now on the block. She's going to get a bunch of coal in her BB stocking this year, Nick, right? She hates Christmas. That's all I can figure out.
Okay, this is what I say, Kev. And did we not call this last week? What did we say? We said that production loves the people they invest in, right? It was looking like Tiffany was going out. And still, even in the cut episode that we're looking at, the house guys are still saying, yeah, we were all going to do it. Then we didn't. It's
why didn't we just didn't.
Exactly. I mean, there is another player of the game that no one considers, and that is Big Brother. That is production. Case in point.
Yes.
I mean, look, we know. I mean, I'm a Vanessa fan. If I'm a Vanessa fan, I'm going to be tuned in because Tiffany's playing. I get it. You know what I mean? The system works. Yeah. But, I mean, let's be honest, people. She was going home. Something happened.
And look, hey,
come on.
Maybe it was her speech that got her to stay in the house. I will give her credit. That was one of the best speeches from a house guest on the block that I have seen in years, just focusing on the dictator Frank and the Cabbage Patch Kid Bridget. I like Cabbage Patch Kids, Nick. I had them when I was a kid, but maybe that swayed the votes. Who knows? Maybe it wasn't production.
I think that since she brought in the name Cabbage Patch, there's now a nickname that will forever be throughout the season. You know, Bridget is now the Cabbage Patch. I love it. And Frank started using it. You know what I mean? No one started calling Frank the dictator afterwards. But Bridget, she sure got Cabbage Patch.
I'll tell you, it's funny now, but Bridget, 15 years down the road, when people are still calling you Cabbage Patch, it's going to get real old. Now, Nick, we did get a tweet question here from one of our viewers, and anyone who's out there that would like to tweet questions, please tweet us. We'll try to answer them either on Twitter or here in person. But we've got TTRIPP777 asked, do you think the order of people who go into the diary room to cast their votes tips off the house guests? That's a great question, Nick. What do you think about that? You've been there in the house. Are house guests tipped off? Because it always seems like the viewer is just, has no idea what's going to happen based on the order the house guests go in.
So the live eviction is actually live. That is the one part of the show that, look, if you were smart and you were really trying to boost your social media numbers, the one thing that you could do during this time period is you could shout out all your handles and no one can stop you. I mean, really, it is like live television. So the order that it goes in is also live. Now, production is smart, and so they want to create a suspenseful game. So if there are super fans in the house, they would then pay attention to the order, knowing that there's probably going to be a good 50-50 split, right? So they're probably going to bring in, or they're going to go either or, right? Because if you're making a show, you don't want it to be, and we knew exactly in the first 5 people that so-and-so is evicted. That's super boring. So yeah, it is a good indication. And if you were paying attention, you kind of knew what side of the house was what. It does get really confusing if you really don't have all the information. The house is varied. There's a lot of misinformation, never makes it to the show. Tons of rumor, always just sort of flying around the house. Tons of stuff that doesn't even really make it to the live feeds. And so it can get kind of hairy, but yes, that is a very good indication.
Yes, that was a great question. Any other questions, please tweet us. Leave questions in the comments section. Nick, I want to do this right now to CBS. I thought this was a really good episode, this Sunday night episode. Full of drama, just dripping with drama. I thought it was a great episode, maybe the best episode of the season, Nick.
Wow, Kev, look, you have not seen my notes, right?
I have not, no.
The very first one says, good game drama. We have ESPN, bro. I honestly thought the same thing. I thought this was great. It was high stake, good drama. Yeah.
Are we supposed to be taking notes, Nick? I think I need to start doing that when we're watching. But yeah, great drama. It was like a UFC pay-per-view card. You've got Tiffany versus Frank, and then you've got Tiffany versus Mama Day. Then you got Nicole versus Tiffany. Then you got Frank versus Day. It was just constant drama in the house and some strategy. I thought it was great.
And then you got Paulie versus the house. Like it was like, but Paulie, I still feel like is like. He's the guy that everybody, he's like the Ronda Rousey, you know what I mean? Like, you just know he's going to win. Everyone's just like, yeah, you got this. We're not even concerned. Yeah. But, okay, so can we do some best and worst? I took some great notes here.
You had great notes here. We've got Nicole on the, or sorry, we've got I'm totally blanking on, Natalie is on the block right now. We've got Natalie and Tiff on the block. Tiff put Christmas Corey up on the block. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Let's dive right into best and worst.
Okay, here we go. I got a long list here. These are just some things that I thought really interesting about this episode. So, again, we're back to just like Big Brother 17. Everyone wants to clear the air. Did you notice that? We're back to the let's clear the air. I don't know where that started. That started somewhere maybe in my season. Maybe 16. Everybody always wanted to, like, make sure that everyone was, like, up to date with all the information. Again, I don't understand why everyone's, like, on board with this. I think they need to like flush some of the episodes, you know what I mean? So that people get that back in their head that like, you don't need to do that. You just don't. Like, no one needs to be all honest with each other at all, ever.
Yeah, information is power on here. And it seems like everybody just wants to make sure, hey, are we on the same page, Nick? Let's just get it all out in the open. You're playing Big Brother. Keep some of this information. Don't just dump it all out there. I totally agree with you.
Yes, and again, here's another thing. I really enjoyed this. You know, again, this high stakes, high drama. We're really starting to see now the game unfold, and this is the part that I enjoy so much. I just eat this up by spoonfuls. This conversation that Frank had with Davon, Frank saw right through Davon, and you could feel it in the conversation, and I just love watching that. I love when people don't get fooled, and then they call it, and then they're correct. That is just awesome.
I'm going to say this right now. Frank is back a little bit. Now, he had the whole butt slapping thing, which no one's going to defend Frank for that. I think that was totally inappropriate. But I like the way he was playing the game here. He never got rattled when he found out the whole house was against him. He was very calculated, very calm, didn't blow anything up. I liked how he's kind of responding a little bit from a bad week.
I totally agree. He was one of my favorite players in 14. I think he's smart enough. I think he can read people well enough. And, I mean, he's really good at comms, which, you know, is a part of the game. It's not the entire part of the game, but, I mean, it can save you in a pinch. And I think he's going to come back, and especially with this new development with Tiffany. And speaking of Tiffany, here's another note that I wrote down. Tiffany's breaking down, all right? So we just had this whole episode with Vanessa talking about Tiffany and how they said that they're very similar. They're very emotional creatures, and we saw it. I mean, but I will say this in her defense. In that house, the only thing you want, I mean, it looks so crazy when you're watching it on TV. You're like, why are they crying? It's just a game, like NBD. But when you're in that house and hours and days go by, you're cut off from everyone else. Imagine being in like solitary confinement, right? I mean, and then you're around other people that don't particularly, you feel like they don't like you. You feel like they actually are not your friends, and then they're lying to you. I mean, psychologically, that really wears down on you. I mean, and we are seeing, you know, the brute force of this on Tiffany.
Yes, and I want to double down on that. I had one of my best was, can we please have a Russo in the house every single season? I mean, how many more Russos are out there for us to have? I love watching Vanessa last season. Tiffany has been very entertaining this season. Let's bring Pops Russo on next season. And then let's bring Cousin Russo on the season after that. I want, like, 10 seasons down the road, I want Whiskers the Cat Russo on Big Brother, because Russos are entertaining. You know, you'll see a house guest in the diary room talking about, man, Whiskers is walking around hissing and pissing on everything. We got to vote Whiskers out of the house, because Russos, Nick, are just entertaining, right?
Dude, this is riffing off of my idea. I said we need a black bear and, you know, like a feline. We need all these types of things. Like, Big Brother 42 is going to get, like, kind of, you know, it's going to get weird, because we're going to have to, like, you know, really spice it up. You know, now, again, we're talking about Tiffany. Here's something else that I saw I really liked. What's that?
I want to take your idea to the next level. We need to have pets of former house guests on the show. We'll get Ian Terry's turtle. We'll get Tiffany's parrot. We'll get, like Vanessa's dogs will be on the show. It's dogs of former house guests. Big Brother 34, Nick. That's what we got to do.
In replace of me, if I ever go back, I nominate my Yorkshire Poodle mix, Tootsie, to take my place. She will do great. I know it.
She's very skilled.
She's very skilled. Okay, speaking on the strain of Tiffany, I really enjoyed watching this, right? When it was all kind of coming together, you know what I mean? She was getting that Rain Man moment. All the numbers are coming into her brain. She's doing all the calculations, and she's realizing, you know what? All these people are lying to me. And then as soon as she gets caught talking with Frank, who comes in the room? Nicole comes in the room. What's the matter? Boom, looks right through it. Slices through her like lasers through Swiss cheese. It was brilliant. And then Davon, same thing, comes in. Zakiya, same thing. I mean, she's just like pounding them. I mean, it was awesome. Yeah. I loved it.
I hope she'll stay in the house. She was very entertaining. I'm worried about her long-term future in the game, but she was absolutely entertaining. I've got another best, Nick, and I want to give CBS credit for this. Thank God we have not seen one person's HOH room this summer. I mean, that is absolutely 10 to 15 minutes of my life that I would love back every episode when they're like, who wants to see my HOH room? And then we go up and it's a letter from the family and we see what they have in their basket and they're eating chocolates for a fourth of the episode. I'm glad CBS has cut that and we are not seeing, I don't care about seeing anyone's HOH. I don't see, like, I just don't need to see your pictures from high school, Nick. All right, I don't care. Let's play the game, right?
I mean, I know you really want to see my dog so that you can get inside information for Big Brother 34. But, dude, I totally agree with you, man. I mean, it's really nice that it's more focused on the game, less focused on, like, all this, like, information that actually has, like, no connection to it. I do enjoy, like, hearing about their personal life and whatnot, but this is not connected to the game, like, when it's like a letter from, like, I don't know, it's like that doesn't mean anything. Like, I'm invested into the people that are inside of the house. You know what I mean? I totally agree with you. In fact, I forgot they even did that until you just mentioned that. So, bravo.
Which shows all the more reason why it should be gone because people don't even know that it's gone. Which shows that it did not need to be there in the first place.
I have another best. This is a very quick one. I think Paulie is a great speaker. A lot of people, like in the round table or whatever, like they get up there and they kind of like. They say stuff that's really weird. It just doesn't make sense, or they stumble, or what. Paulie's just like, he's got it. I love it, man.
I will say something about Paulie. Nobody speaks out of the side of their face more than Paulie. Paulie loves to. He never.
That's also how
there it is.
He wears his hat. He wears his hat to the side. Yeah. He speaks.
He never faces
part of the whole thing.
Camera. Never faces the camera straight on. He's always looking at you like this. But yes, I agree. He speaks. He speaks pretty well. He seems to be playing a pretty good game. I've got a worst for you, Nick, and I want to double down on something you said earlier. Tiffany wins the roadkill. Now, I'm not saying CBS. I'm not saying they're cheating here, but I'm saying it's a little suspicious that the one thing that could keep her in the house is the roadkill, and she happens to win it after not really winning any competitions all season. We don't have any idea what the other times were for the house guests, the way it's all edited. CBS, I'm not saying you're cheating, but it looks a little suspicious, I think.
I couldn't agree with you anymore. As someone who's on the show, right, like, I know I'm supposed to be like, yes, CBS, like, I will do whatever. But, like, dude, I mean, it's a show, right? Like, I mean, we can all just be honest with each other here. It's a show. Like, this isn't, like, an actual courtroom, an actual trial, an actual, like, it's a game show, you know what I mean? So, like, yeah, I mean, the rules are, the rules are kind of here, and, we're all entertained. I love watching it, but yeah, dude, I mean, come on, it's like, it's always like the perfect thing that could possibly happen. Oh, and it happened. How did that happen?
I mean, if Paulie won, let's just skip right to eviction night, right? Because it's probably all over for Tiffany. It was only Tiffany or Frank that would have drawn the drama out and kind of gave her a lifeline. And sure enough, it happened. I'm keeping my eye on you, CBS. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you're cheating. A little suspicious.
So I have a worse as well.
Okay.
This was when Tiffany had pretty much given up, right? She's wearing a hat and glasses. She kind of looks like a bag woman a little bit. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like she looks like the same lady that's like, you're selling cookies when you're a kid, and you're like, I really don't want to go to like, Mrs. K's house. Like, she's the crazy cat lady. And then you open the door, and that's what she's dressed in. It's like, a round brim hat with like the glasses and like the scarves and like it's just two different socks. Like you just don't care anymore, you know? You're just like whatever. Like no one likes me here. But then halfway through this episode, you know, which is obviously cut over a couple days. You know, then she gets back in it, and it's like the Rocky song. You know, it's like dun, 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 like she's coming back for the fight, man. I'm excited.
She did have some ugly crying moments. I'm not saying she's an ugly crier, but she had some moments that little bit of an ugly crier. And yeah, she was down in the dumps, but she seemed to rally. I also like Mama Day's game. She had a chance to kind of relive that Audrey moment, Nick, last season that kind of blew her game up, and she could have just gone nuts on Frank and had a big house fight, but she knew that that's why she went home and she pulled back. I'm liking her game too right now.
Dude, I agree with you, man. She's a lot more focused this time around. I keep thinking too, like, look, she's in the house. I went out in second. I keep thinking, like, what would I do if I were in the house, right? I feel like I'm in a very different place though, right? Like, I feel like if I were in the house, it should be so different. I just feel like I wouldn't talk to anybody. I would take nothing personally. I would have zero desire for trust. Like it would be a very different game. It would be a very different Nick Uhas. Like I vouched to not lie the first time. Like what? Like what was that? This is crazy. So yeah, okay. And Kev, I have another best. Okay.
Ooh, I want to hear it. Yeah.
And this is my last best. Paul is still in the house.
Wait,
that's
what?
all I got.
He's still in the house?
He's still in the house. I mean, this is the guy that everyone said, this guy's going first. You know what I mean? Like, he is #1 pick to go. But it's exactly what we said. He was the #1 target, survived past the second week, and now he's still there. Paul is still in the house.
Nick, he's got more lives than Whiskers Russo, I think, at this point. He keeps getting put on the block. He keeps surviving. And, yes, it's exactly what we said. If you have a giant bullseye on you very early on in the game and you can last a couple weeks, people are looking over you and around you toward other targets, and they almost fail to see you anymore. Paul's falling into this category. He doesn't really have any alliances in the house. All the people close to him have gone away. He's just survived and advanced, and now he's not on anybody's radar right now. No one's.
He is like the cactus in the corner of the room. He's like this plant right now. You know what I mean?
With
awesome.
the giant beard that I guarantee, Nick, I think CBS is going to have him cut that at some point. There's going to be some challenge. People want to see that beard go. I really think CBS is going to find a way to cut that beard at some point this season.
So, little inside tip here. What you look like when you come in is what they want you to continue to look like because of all their marketing materials. I tried to get away with a mustache, a really creepy mustache. Cut it in like 4 minutes. They were like, nope. They like literally called me to the DR and said, it's got to go.
Interesting. That's so you think the beard is there to stay then? You don't think they're going to have him cut the beard? Because
look, everyone that shaves keeps shaved. You know what I mean? Like everyone that, I guess Paul Lee is like an exception. I mean, some people walk out there with beards, but for the most part, if you come in clean shaven, you stay clean shaven.
Now,
and if you come with a beard, you stay with a beard.
Are they stripping Paulie every time he goes into the DR to keep him naked on the show, Nick, too? Is that also what you're saying? Because that dude hates wearing clothes.
That is exactly what I'm saying. It is like, it's in his contract, I'm sure. It says like, of the 7 days of the week, in order to be paid at the end, you must, if you want to win anything, you must remain naked for at least 4. And I don't know why they're speaking like old English accent. I don't know why.
They have to read it like that. They read the contract like that. But yeah, but we'll see what happens. We've got Natalie, we've got Tiffany, and now we've got Christmas Corey on the block. It's going to be interesting, Nick, to see what happens, to see if Tiffany can remain in the house a little bit longer.
So let me ask you this. What are your predictions? Do you think someone's going to get backdoored? I mean, what do you think? Who do you think is going to be the replacement nom? Any ideas?
It seems like right now it's, I mean, like you could throw Paul on the block, but I would guess it's probably going to be Natalie or Tiffany that end up going this week. Should Tiffany find a way to pull herself off the block, maybe they would throw a pawn up there. Maybe the kind of remnants of the 8-pack would decide to throw a pawn up there and they'd end up voting Natalie out of the house. I kind of think it's going to be Natalie or Tiffany. I'd be really surprised if Corey went here this week. What do you think?
It's either going to be that or Whiskers. One or the other.
Don't vote Whiskers off. He just got in the house, Nick. Just because he's not potty trained, you're targeting Whiskers Russo, all right? You got to leave Whiskers Russo in the house a little longer.
there's going to be a new twist. Glenn's going to come back, and then Glenn's going to get backdoored. That's my prediction for the week.
I love it. Oh, you know what? By the way, probably on Thursday, I would imagine we'll finally see the Battle Back competition.
That's right, because we're approaching jury-ish.
Yeah, it's about time for Jose to come back in the house.
Dude, he's the Messiah, brother. Dude, you know it, man. Oh, yeah. I can't wait. All right, Kev.
Nick, would he just float back in the house? Would that be the?
Well, after he turns all the water to wine, then he'll float in the house.
Well, I'm definitely watching to find out what happens there. That sounds very exciting.
Absolutely. Kev, where can we find you?
I'm at KevSoup and KevSoup.com. Thank you, as always, to everybody watching. Send questions our way. We'll see if we can answer them via Twitter or bring them up on this show, and we will keep doing this show weekly as long as you out there are watching. So thank you for watching.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for watching. You can find me on Twitter at Nick Uhas. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Kev and I are doing at least one show a week, sometimes two, if we feel really crazy and super inspired by all the Big Brotherness. And we will see you very soon. We tend to do shows on Thursdays and Sundays. And so if we feel inspired, there might be one this Thursday. All right. We will see you soon.
Good night, America.